This is the main difference between the left and the right here. When the left loses an election, yes, they grumble about it and they say things they shouldn't, like he's an illegitimate president. They don't actually try to stay in office. Kamala Harris.
Hang on a second. Bill, if Hillary Clinton and the Democrats got their way when they were challenging Trump and saying he was an illegitimate president in 2016, and they somehow got that bullshit Steele dossier to somehow, which was, by the way, all completely nonsense.
You watch too much Fox News.
No, I don't watch Fox News at all. I legitimately do not watch Fox News.
Well, you're getting this.
Hold on a second, Bill. Did they not all think that he was a Russian asset, and that Russia had fixed the election?
Okay.
Was that not what they were saying?
Okay, but I got to explain to you the difference.
Was it not?
And then we don't have to talk about this all night.
Zachary Levi is a right-leaning actor who actually came out in a big way for Donald Trump in the last election. And it's always so refreshing to see somebody who actually works in Hollywood have a functioning brain. It makes you pause and actually think that maybe there is hope for people in the entertainment industry to actually have some morals and standards and values, okay? So what we're gonna see today, of course, is Zachary Levi going head-to-head with Bill Maher on the election of Donald Trump. But before we get into these clips, please like and comment on this video so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
The Democrats, they lost a crazy contest to a crazy person. You know, I totally get that.
I don't know that is the case, though.
You don't think he's a crazy person?
I don't. I actually don't. I don't think he's the paragon of morality, but I also don't think that the country.
Not talking about morality. That's a different issue.
But I would say, though, I mean, listen. There's lots of details that one can add or subtract to this conversation, but in brass tacks general terms, the 4 years of his presidency were significantly better than the 4 years of the Biden-Harris presidency and vice presidency.
Well, there's so much more complicated.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I understand it's more complicated.
Factors that move into that.
Sure, fine. And people say, well, it was Obama's economy that he inherited. Oh, okay, but fine. But hold on a second. Save COVID, which was not in his power at all. He not just maintained that economy, he made it even better. Our border was more secure, our economy was more secure, crime rates were down. I mean, this wasn't
we weren't doing anything to because that side does not really believe in the emergency of environmental catastrophe. So that to me is one of the two deal breakers on the right. They don't really get it about the environment. And the other one is democracy. They don't get that. So those are my two issues that are important to me as a voter.
Let's jump in right there, right? Bill Maher says he can't side with conservatives because on his two main issues, the environment and democracy, conservatives just don't get it. As if we want to have dirty air, dirty water, right? A world just strewn with litter and toxic waste, right? That's not what we're about. What we aren't about, though, is spending millions upon millions of dollars, possibly billions of dollars to go ahead and fund China, to go ahead and fund India, to go ahead and pay Paris for what reason? To lower our temperature 1 degree over the next couple hundred years? It's not worth it. We would be cutting off our own economic development at the knees if we went along with all of these Paris climate accords, etc., right? It doesn't make any sense for us to do that whatsoever. Instead, what we can rely on is environmental innovations, as we've been doing over the years, right? Our country has been getting cleaner and cleaner and cleaner and producing more and more energy, while other countries, of course, are still going the same course. So it doesn't make any sense for us to go ahead and get on board with all this craziness when India and China, of course, are the biggest polluters in the whole world, and they aren't doing anything to stop their pollution. Not to mention the science is kind of fuzzy on a lot of these topics anyway. Now, when it comes to democracy and freedom, of course, we actually just had on full display Joe Biden weaponizing the DOJ against his chief political opponent, right? So yeah, I guess we don't understand democracy in the same way, do we, Bill?
You know, MSNBC is a giant problem at this point, but don't tell me that Tucker Carlson isn't.
I don't know that Tucker Carlson is more of a problem. I think Tucker Carlson might be. No, seriously, hear me out.
Oh, it's okay.
Tucker Carlson is at least saying things he actually believes and that I think he's done a lot of research.
We actually have proof that is not the case because you must have seen this story. You seem so well informed.
I'm pretty well informed, but I don't catch everything.
Yeah, you're very well informed.
I don't catch everything.
Okay. It came out, his text came out in the lawsuit. I mean, Fox News had to pay $780 million. You remember this? After the 2020 election, because they claimed falsely about election stealing stuff that Trump had trumped up to get them to say, and Tucker Carlson, we have his private text where he's saying that he absolutely doesn't believe this, and he's savaging Trump. So that's how we know he's full of shit, because we have it. We have the actual text in complete diametrically opposition to what he was saying on the air about, Dominion voting systems and all this bullshit that they tried to. And again, this is the main difference between the left and the right here. When the left loses an election, yes, they grumble about it and they say things they shouldn't, like he's an illegitimate president. They don't actually try to stay in office. Kamala Harris.
Hang on a second. Bill, if Hillary Clinton and the Democrats got their way when they were challenging Trump and saying he was an illegitimate president in 2016, and they somehow got that bullshit Steele dossier to somehow, which was, by the way, all completely nonsense.
You watch too much Fox News.
No, I don't watch Fox News at all. I legitimately do not watch Fox News.
Well, you're getting this.
Hold on a second, Bill. Did they not all think that he was a Russian asset, and that Russia had fixed the election?
Okay.
Was that not what they were saying?
Okay, but I got to explain to you the difference.
Was it not?
And then we don't have to talk about this all night. I will.
So apparently Bill Maher forgot about the huge campaign in 2016 of all the stars coming out and making commercials, of all the representatives actually coming out and saying, hey, we've got to stop these electors from getting through. One after another, they stood up there and said, please, we do not want to get these electors from our states. And one after another, they were all denied because they didn't have a single senator who would stand up with them. And by the way, the person denying them was none other than Joe Biden. So yes, there was a concerted effort to supposedly steal the election according to Bill Maher's standards, okay? And then afterwards, with the Steele dossier, which was traced back to the Hillary Clinton campaign, they went after Donald Trump with that for years. It gave them leeway to say, oh, he's actually a Russian asset. He's a Manchurian candidate. He's going to be completely under the control of Putin. Okay, and all of it was proven completely, totally, patently false. And the same side that did all of that, yes, is your precious Democrats. So don't sit there and try to say, oh, it's the conservatives. They're the ones that don't understand democracy.
But here's the difference. 2016, Trump pulls an inside straight and wins the Electoral College.
Yeah.
Hillary acknowledges this happened, concedes the election before the cock crows the next day. Same as this time. Kamala Harris conceded the election, said, I lost. There's no lawsuits. There's no demanding recounts. There's none of this bullshit. I trust the system, and I say the other guy won. Now, what happened after that, the Russia thing, first of all, that's completely debatable. But if you really think that there's some sort of equivalency here between after the guy who you admit won the election is in office, carping about him, saying, oh, the election was unfair because of this or that, that has gone on throughout history. But nobody has done what he did, which is he still has not conceded the 2020 election. Took it to court 63 times, was laughed out of court 63 times, pressured the Justice Department to not, asked his supporters to march on the Capitol.
He didn't ask them to do that.
Okay, but
and also he requested the National Guard, and it's been confirmed that he was denied by Pelosi.
But the point is that by not conceding the election, by never saying from November, whatever day that election was, November 5th or something, to January 6th, he had 2 months to say to his supporters, yeah, we lost. We'll come back next time. You don't win them all. Like every other president and candidate ever did, including when it was possibly not kosher, like Nixon in 1960, Al Gore in 2000, but they did it. They came out and said
after a recount.
If you don't get why that's completely different than whatever you're trying to say is an equivalency, then I can't talk more about this. I just have to accept this. Let me
clarify though.
So yes, you're right, Bill. Hillary Clinton did actually concede the election, but then she spent the next 4 years saying how the election was stolen from her. She even wrote a book about it, Bill, okay? And also, don't forget, Al Gore, for 2 weeks, was demanding recounts after the election over and over and over again in order to get Florida to to flip a way that he wanted it to go. And remember, he wasn't requesting all of Florida be recounted, just certain counties that were heavily Democrat leaning, right? He wanted to get a few more votes there. But we'll go ahead and gloss over that. No one did what Donald Trump did. He ordered his supporters to march on the Capitol. No, he said, hey, everybody show up for this rally because we're finally going to have people contest the electors from these states as we are legally and lawfully allowed to do. And never mind the FBI plants or Antifa plants or anybody else who was in the audience that led to January 6th being what it is. And a lot of that could have been by design as well, because as we know, Nancy Pelosi refused to have the National Guard brought in, and General Milley ignored Donald Trump's request to also have them brought in. So, that sounds a little collusion-y to me. But also, if you really thought the election was stolen, if you actually thought you had evidence and you went ahead and gave it to the other person anyway, I don't really have that much respect for you, right? We have on video a whole bunch of very strange things happening, none of which has been explained to this day because we have been unable to talk about it for 4 years. And all of those cases that Bill Maher says were laughed out of court were all dismissed on the same grounds. The will of the voter. You don't have standing to overturn the will of the voter over and over and over again. So a lot of the times these cases weren't even able to be brought and tried in a proper manner. And to this day, they haven't been investigated fully. But hey, it's not really the environment, so I guess Bill Maher doesn't really care about it that much. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and stay safe out there, people, because they're coming after you.